Tom's daily routine takes an unexpected turn when Danny meets him in the alley, finally delivering that MP3 player he'd been waiting for. School feels like just another mundane place for Tom, except for one distraction that makes every class worth attending: Lucy. She's been on his mind for what feels like forever, and today might just be his lucky day. Class ends, and before Tom can even pack his bag, Lucy approaches him directly. She needs help with her chemistry assignments and wonders if he'd be willing to tutor her at Charlie's place. Tom barely manages to stammer out a yes, his heart racing faster than he'd like to admit. He heads home to his grandmother Nasi, who's been raising him with patience and love. She eagerly shares passages from her latest novel, though Tom struggles to stay engaged. His mind is already at Charlie's house. When Tom arrives at the meeting spot, nothing could have prepared him for what he finds. A man lies motionless on the ground, completely unconscious. Before Tom can process the scene, several dangerous-looking individuals emerge from the adjacent room, camera equipment in hand. They'd been filming something, and Tom just became an unwanted witness. Fear takes over. He tries to flee, but the sharp crack of a gunshot echoes through the space. The bullet finds him, and darkness follows. 10 days slip by before Tom opens his eyes again in a sterile hospital room. The doctor explains the bizarre twist of fate that saved his life. A bullet struck his phone first, which happened to be positioned near his head as he ran. Shrapnel from the device embedded itself in his skull, but miraculously, the injuries weren't life-threatening. Still, the doctor warns him to report any unusual symptoms immediately. Tom's first question is about Lucy. Nasi reassures him that she recovered quickly and returned home days ago. The taxi ride home feels strange. Tom notices the driver keeps glancing at him through the rearview mirror with an odd intensity. As Tom's eyes drift to the meter display, a wave of disorientation hits him, and consciousness slips away once more. He awakens in his own bed, confused about how he got there. Morning arrives, and Nasi observes that his wounds seem to be healing faster than expected. She suggests he visit Lucy to check on her well-being. Armed with a bouquet of flowers and heavy guilt, Tom makes his way to her home. Lucy's brother Ben welcomes him inside. Tom begins apologizing for his inability to protect her during the attack, but Lucy stops him gently. She reminds him that he was unarmed and outnumbered, that anyone would have reacted the same way. Her words don't ease the weight Tom carries inside. As he steps outside her house, Tom's world shifts dramatically. Electronic devices around him suddenly become audible. He hears phone conversations, notification pings, data transmissions. It's overwhelming. The sounds intensify until his head throbs painfully. Then come the visions. Digital overlays appear on every device he sees, displaying information that shouldn't be visible. His legs give out, and he collapses. During this unconscious episode, something crystallizes in Tom's mind. He sees Eugene's phone clearly, recognizes him as one of the attackers. The realization hits hard. Eugene attends their school. When Tom shares this discovery with Danny, his friend dismisses it as impossible. But at school the next day, Tom's new ability proves itself. He can read Eugene's messages without touching his device, see his entire digital footprint. The certainty burns inside him. Rage takes control, and Tom uses this strange power to overload Eugene's phone, destroying it completely. That evening, Danny drags Tom to a party, hoping to distract him, but Tom can't relax. Seated on the couch, he scans through every phone in the room until the pieces fall into place. He identifies everyone involved in Lucy's attack. Fury propels him toward Eugene, but Danny intercepts him, pulling him away before things escalate. Later, Tom meets Lucy for a quiet conversation outside. As they talk, Eugene and his crew appear in the distance, heading toward the basketball court. Fear flashes across Lucy's face, and seeing her frightened ignites something protective in Tom. He decides these guys need to understand there are consequences. Using only his thoughts, Tom sends Eugene a message from an untraceable number. Your judgment is coming. The following morning, Tom shadows Eugene's group as they navigate through the city to meet their supplier. Tom hacks Eugene's device remotely, listening to every word exchanged through the phone's microphone. He doesn't stop there. Throughout the day, he torments them with electronic harassment, flickering lights, random music playing at full volume, creating an atmosphere of paranoia. Simultaneously, he messages Lucy from that same anonymous number, promising to shield her from those who harmed her. She responds asking for his identity and motives, but Tom remains silent. The next school day brings an assembly for all students. Just as the presentation is about to begin, Tom hijacks the system wirelessly and broadcasts Cash's private, embarrassing footage across the auditorium screens. Laughter erupts as Cash flees in humiliation. Afterward, Tom finds Lucy again. She's desperate to know who this mysterious protector is. While pretending to adjust a nearby radio, Lucy sends another message to the unknown number, asking if they're responsible for everything happening. Standing mere feet away, Tom responds telepathically through the network. Lucy explains why the gang targeted her. They wanted her brother to join their organization, and when he refused, they threatened to destroy her family. They made good on that threat by attacking her. When she asks again for his identity, Tom types back a simple name. Call me Eyeball. Days later, as Tom and Lucy walk home after dark, Eugene and his friends surround them. They mock Lucy and demand to know who's been sending those threatening messages. Eugene grabs Tom aggressively, asking if he's behind it all. Tom wirelessly sends a message to all their phones simultaneously. You're choking the wrong person, kid. Eugene's face drains of color, and Tom and Lucy manage to escape. Tom realizes these criminals won't stop pursuing Lucy. A harder lesson is necessary. He waits patiently, already aware that Eugene's crew plans to steal a vehicle tonight. The moment they break into the car and settle inside, Tom remotely locks every door. Panic sets in among the trapped teenagers. Tom activates the radio and speaks through it, his voice digitally disguised. Who commands your operation? When they refuse to answer, Tom makes the engine roar violently, smoke billowing from under the hood. Flames begin licking at the dashboard. Cash screams in terror, revealing that someone called Cuts leads them, that they're just students forced into this life. Tom unlocks the doors, and they scramble out seconds before the vehicle explodes. But Tom's campaign continues. Using his abilities, he locates Cuts' complete address, unaware that Danny has connections to this same criminal network. Cuts relaxes in his apartment, watching television with his associates, when his screen suddenly displays footage Tom recorded earlier, showing Cuts' own car being vandalized in the most degrading way. Enraged, Cuts storms out. The moment he's gone, Tom slips inside and systematically destroys every electronic device, also stealing the narcotics Cuts had stashed away. When Cuts returns to find his operation demolished and his product missing, he nearly loses his mind. Meanwhile, Lucy tells Tom she feels ready to return to classes. Their conversation shifts to this mysterious eyeball figure who's become somewhat legendary for targeting gang members. Tom asks what she thinks about him. Lucy's response is thoughtful. One individual can't reform an entire community, she says. Small acts of vigilante justice won't solve systemic problems. Her words plant a seed in Tom's mind. He decides he won't just harass criminals anymore. He'll dismantle the entire operation. Tom already knows exactly who the dealers and enforcers are. Under cover of darkness, he breaks into their residences, plants narcotics in strategic locations, and anonymously tips off law enforcement with precise information. Arrests follow quickly. He drains gang members' bank accounts through digital manipulation, spreading fear through their ranks. Everything gets uploaded online under the Eyeball alias. Even Eugene and his friends end up in custody. For the first time in years, the neighborhood feels safer. Tom's abilities continue expanding, and his personality begins shifting. He can now cut power to entire city blocks with just a glance. He's become something beyond human. Soon after, Cut's video calls his superior, Elman. The conversation is brutal. Elman berates him for being unable to move product, for causing only financial damage. He issues an ultimatum: deliver profits soon or face elimination. Tom intercepts this entire exchange and finally learns who truly runs this criminal empire. Desperate to identify Eyeball and stop the police tips, Cuts orders his organization to break into every apartment in the surrounding area, stealing phones and any electronics they find. The gang spreads across the neighborhood like locusts, terrorizing innocent residents. The next morning, Tom discovers that public opinion has turned against him. Online forums overflow with anger. People blame the break-ins on Eyeball's crusade, saying innocent families are suffering because someone wants to play hero. Tom understands that Londoners have grown exhausted by the constant violence and chaos. Even his grandmother lost possessions to the raids. Tom decides to go completely dark for a while. After several quiet days, when the criminals believe Eyeball has given up, they resume their illegal activities. Tom has been watching silently, waiting for this exact moment. He's become more withdrawn, and Nasi grows concerned that he might be involved in something dangerous. She asks Danny to monitor Tom closely and ensure he doesn't get into serious trouble. Meanwhile, Cuts approaches his vehicle while far across the city. Eyeball observes through connected cameras. Tom messages Lucy, telling her that tonight he'll finish everything permanently. Lucy immediately pushes back, reminding him that he could die, that taking justice into his own hands violates everything they believe in. Tom understands her reasoning, but can't stop himself. Tom attempts tracking Cuts through his phone signal, but Cuts has already discarded his device in a dumpster, making conventional tracking impossible. Suddenly, Tom hears helicopter blades overhead. A major accident occurred nearby, and a news helicopter rushes toward the scene. Tom quickly hacks the helicopter's camera feed and spots Cuts' vehicle. He grabs his bicycle and gives chase. Cuts arrives at a hidden location filled with massive shipping containers. Inside one of them, he meets with his top operatives to strategize about eliminating Eyeball. Tom conceals himself in shadows, observing everything. A guard patrols nearby. Using his power, Tom watches several online tutorials demonstrating how to silently incapacitate someone from behind. He replicates the technique perfectly in real life, rendering the guard unconscious without a sound. Tom discovers a large container packed with narcotics. He ignites the entire stash, intending to cause maximum financial damage. But before he can retreat, Cuts and his crew flood in and attack from multiple angles. They beat him savagely. Tom genuinely believes this might be his final moment. To survive, he manipulates the electronics around him to generate an extremely low-frequency sound wave, so piercing that it ruptures the eardrums of every attacker, dropping them in agony. Cuts attempts to shoot him, but his aim falters and Tom barely escapes. On his frantic ride home, he crashes into a street pole and loses consciousness. Morning light finds Tom waking in an unfamiliar location, with no memory of how he arrived there. Lucy keeps calling because he'd promised to escort her to school. She's still too frightened to go alone, but Tom doesn't answer. She has no choice but to attend by herself. After her exam, Lucy runs into Tom and her anger is immediate. Tom tries explaining that something went terribly wrong last night, that he couldn't make it home, but Lucy won't hear his excuses. That's when they both notice a crowd gathering near a building. They turn to look and see Cash's lifeless body suspended there. Tom feels his entire world crack. Later, standing on a rooftop, Tom confronts Danny about who could have murdered Cash. Danny's response cuts deep. Cash died because of Eyeball, he says. Everything spiraled out of control the day Lucy was attacked. Danny admits Cash was part of the gang, but reminds Tom that no human being is purely evil. Cash simply couldn't bear the public humiliation and broke under the pressure. This revelation crushes Tom further. After Lucy's assault, the community has fractured into two camps, just like Danny described. Some residents believe Eyeball is a necessary force for good. Others see him as the root cause of all their problems. Under this mounting pressure, Tom begins suffocating emotionally. He visits the doctor and begs him to surgically remove the phone fragments from his brain. The doctor explains that such an operation would likely be fatal and is nearly impossible to perform safely. Tom leaves the hospital feeling hollow. That night, violent pounding shakes the front door. When Tom opens it, Cutz's enforcers grab him immediately. Elman, the organization's ultimate authority, has come personally. Nasi rushes out to defend her grandson, but Cutz strikes her so viciously that she crumples unconscious. Elman coldly orders his men to carry her to her bedroom. He then makes Tom an offer. "Work for me, and I'll transform your entire existence." Tom refuses without hesitation. Elman despises being told no. His enforcer shoves Tom to the ground brutally. Elman then commands Tom to locate Lucy. Tom uses his abilities and discovers that Eugene and his crew have kidnapped her. Elman even manipulated the legal system to get them released from jail. Tom understands immediately that if he disobeys, Lucy dies. Then Elman reveals the most devastating betrayal. Danny sold all the information for cash. Elman humiliates Danny publicly, throwing money at his feet and kicking him out like garbage. He then threatens Tom, explaining that just as Tom emptied Cutz's accounts, Elman can fill anyone's account. If Tom doesn't transfer funds into Elman's offshore accounts right now, Lucy will be executed. Tom slowly begins the transfer process, but simultaneously uses his power to trigger an emergency call to police through Lucy's nearby phone. At the warehouse, Eugene's gang waits with weapons ready. If Tom fails to comply, they'll kill Lucy immediately. Lucy screams at them, reminding them they all grew up together, questioning how they could fall so far. Police sirens suddenly wail in the distance. Eugene's group quickly destroys the phone and hides Lucy in a corner, taping her mouth shut. The police never hear her cries. When the phone shatters, Tom experiences a violent shock through his nervous system. Elman senses something is wrong and drags Tom directly to the warehouse. While hiding from police, Eugene fumbles and drops his weapon. Lucy seizes it quickly, but the officers have already left. She aims the gun at all three boys and orders them to kneel, but she's not like them. She can't pull the trigger. As she turns to leave, Elman enters with his crew. Lucy panics and Eugene lunges from behind, wrestling the gun away from her. A thug strikes Tom across the head, bringing the situation back under their control. Elman orders Tom to complete the transfer immediately, but this time something inside Tom shatters. He says one word, enough. He focuses every ounce of his power on every phone in the room. Elman hurls his own device away instantly, sensing danger. But the rest of the gang has no warning. Their phones detonate inside their pockets, causing severe injuries. Eugene gets distracted, and Lucy suddenly counterattacks. In the chaos, Elman flees outside. Tom pursues him, but Elman ambushes him with an iron rod, beating him mercilessly. Tom tries deploying his high-frequency attack again, but Elman headbutts him directly, knocking him unconscious. Elman raises the rod to deliver a killing blow, but before he can strike, Lucy fires a warning shot into the air. She screams at Elman to back away from Tom or she'll shoot, but her weapon jams in terror freezes her in place. Suddenly another gunshot rings out, striking Elman's hand. Furious, he rips Lucy's gun away, punches her hard, and she collapses unconscious. At that exact moment, Tom regains consciousness. Seeing Lucy hurt unleashes something primal inside him. As Elman charges with the rod raised high, Tom releases a massive sonic scream, so devastatingly powerful that Elman dies instantly. But using such force completely drains Tom, and he collapses as well. Tom wakes in the hospital with his grandmother sitting vigil beside him. She's overwhelmed with relief that he survived. After returning home, they share a quiet meal together. Outside, Tom finds Danny waiting. Danny apologizes sincerely, saying he wants nothing to do with dirty money anymore. Tom tells him that while he caught everyone who hurt Lucy, he hadn't thought about who recorded that original video. He tells Danny there's still time to choose a different path. Finally, Tom meets Lucy on the rooftop. He's arranged a small romantic dinner for just the two of them. They both feel genuinely happy for the first time in weeks. Together, they've taken down London's most dangerous criminal boss.